So today I'm going to build one of Funwhole's latest sets, the A-frame cabin, part of their retro house series, with over 2,000 pieces, age 16 plus, and set number F9013. This looks pretty cool, and of course, it comes with a light kit as well. Alright, let's open up and see what's inside. Okay, so as you can see, wow, look at that, we've got the light kit on top with the instruction booklet, and wow, that is one heavy, thick, boy, look at that, and here's your sticker sheet as well, mostly for wood paneling decorations, but okay, yeah, that's nice. Some, you know, if you don't like stickers, you don't have to use them. It's not essential, it just adds a couple bits of extra details. But yeah, look at that. Woo, God, heavy. And then you can also scan the QR code for PDF instructions. That's new. Okay. And inside this package is where all the light kit is included, along with the battery box, the brick separator, that sort of thing. So let's open this up. Just 3 bags, not too many light components, but that is good because sometimes, you know, you can have too many and it's too complicated and you think, less is more, but this works. I think this is going to be quite nice. And then of course you get a whole load of bags. So many bags. I wonder how many are here. So there are 35 bags in total, 34 parts bags and one with the minifigures with 11 groups. So you got bags 1 to 11 and then number 12 is for the minifigures. So let's get this built and I'll share my thoughts in the review. I've just looked through the instruction booklet. There are 276 pages and 420 steps to get to the finished build, but it'll be worth it in the end. But yeah, this is going to take me a long time, probably multiple days because I'm a bit of a slow builder, but we'll get it done. So I kind of forgot to do regular check-ins as I was building this because I was just enjoying it so much, but I'm over halfway through the build now, not long to go. I'll show you the rest of it and share my thoughts. And there we go, 420 steps later, 276 pages, I can safely say I have finished the A-frame cabin. And here it is, complete with 4 minifigures, some lights, plenty of details. Yeah, and it took me just over a day to build, so what do I think about this set? Alright, so here we go, here it is, the A-frame cabin by Funwhole, part of their retro retro houses series. And I also built the wood cabin, which is the first Funwhole set and also the first set I built from them, to be honest. And when I was building this one, I noticed a lot of similarities in build techniques, especially the tree, but I'll talk about that later, and just some of the furniture mini builds and things like that. But yeah, let's take a look. My apologies as I'm not in my usual filming review space right now, but here's a quick 360 spin for you. One day I'll be able to buy one of those fancy turntables, but there we go. So it is quite a large set. If you were going to put this on the base plate, it would have to be at least 48 studs by 48 studs, because you know there'd be a little bit of room either side, but otherwise it is quite large because you haven't got just the A-frame cabin itself. Obviously you've got all these little grounds and this kind of river out here as well, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the interior details, which is I'm sure something you're looking forward to. But there is a downside to this set, and probably one of its biggest issues is the fact that it isn't built to be modular. You can't get into it without doing some serious disassembly, and then you've got to consider the wires for the lights that get in the way. So yeah, it's not ideal. Like this lovely little room down here, very nice and cozy. It's actually like a separate kind of extension to the A-frame cabin. So to me, it seems like in universe, this was built first and this was built later on. So they are 2 separate buildings. It is just a little bedroom in there, but there's no way to access it. I have to, you know, rip off the roof essentially, which is a real shame, to be honest. And then it's the same for even the actual A-frame cabin itself. You can't take off the roof, you can't remove the floor. Just, yeah, like, it would have been possible if you didn't have the LED lights, but, you know, you have to weigh up the pros and cons. The thing, when I built the retro wood cabin, that was built modular, it did still have all the lights throughout, but they had different types of connectors, which were a little, you know, delicate at some times. It didn't always work, but at least the house was still modular, whereas this one, it just isn't. I would have to take it apart and, you know, I've managed to tuck all the wires away, so that's not ideal. But speaking of the wires, as you can see down here, they're on show, and the battery box, like every Funwhole set that I've built since the retro wood cabin, the battery box doesn't have a place to stay. At least with this one, you can just slide it in there, which, you know, isn't ideal to some people, but you can't see it from the front. If this is against the wall or at the back of a shelf, obviously, you're not going to see it. You don't know it's there. but it might bother you that it's just sticking there and the wire's here. I did my best to kind of flatten them around and tuck them along the floor, but this is where they all meet. Some also meet up in here. So I didn't really have much choice. It just kind of had to go like that, which, you know, it's not the end of the world. At least it goes somewhere. And then as you can see, there's more LED wires and lights inside that top bedroom. But there's just a close look at it. Again, it's the best I could do, because otherwise I had to take the whole thing apart. And it's just going to be a bit of a pain, really. But one of my favourite things about this set is definitely the furniture builds, you know, for the downstairs and up in the bedroom. And then you got some loose accessories as well. You might recognise some of these things. Yeah, just so nice. And if you see any little details like the piano keys down there, for example, or the alarm clock in the back, those are stickers. There is one printed element in this set, and that's the window piece. That's printed, otherwise everything else is a sticker, or just built using, well, brick-built details and brick-built things. And as you can see, sliding around, there's a lot of furniture that isn't stuck down with studs. So let's take a look at those. Okay, so these are some of the furniture bits that I managed to get out. Obviously, some of them were just loose, sitting on the model, which will probably fall around if it's moved around. But really, it shouldn't be a problem because the model isn't going to be moved around. Let's be real, if you're buying this sort of thing, it's just going to stay where it is. But, you know, little food cart there with some fruit in it. This is from the bedroom, a trophy, some binoculars and a guitar. And then we have this rocking chair, which sits out on the kind of little balcony up top. And then this lovely telescope, which might be quite large in scale for Funwhole's minifigures, but it's just really nice. Although when I was putting it together, it did remind me of like a sniper rifle or something. I mean, even now, I guess you can kind of see it, but I just do quite like that. The bed isn't loose, but I did manage to rip it off the floor from the first floor, and it's almost identical to the bed that's in the little extension building. Again, just really nice. Don't understand why it's got this one bit of kind of yellow here, the other side's purple. Same with the other bed. They both have a random bit of yellow there. I don't really know why that is. And then this little alarm clock, just a simple build, 2 pieces, but again, it just rests on the bedside cabinet up there. It'll probably fall around, and I mean, something as small as that might get lost, so you do have to consider that. There are some more really nice furniture builds in here, such as the piano, that was really nice, and then some plant pots and things like that, but since there's just no easy way for me to get them out, I can't. But otherwise, yeah, it's just a shame, really. And then it's the same with this other little extension bedroom. We've got the little stool, the bed in there, and then there's this kind of cabinet which is loose, but you know, it's not really going to go anywhere. It's stuck in that room. And one thing you probably noticed with the lights is that there are wires on show. Most of them are pretty well hidden, I'll be honest with you, but there are just 3 main places where I can see that they stick out to me rather obviously, and you've probably seen them already. So for example, we've got a wire just down there by these bags. I don't know if that's just be like camping supplies or bags of rubbish or something. So you can see the black wire there. Again, it's the same wire. It runs through the small bedroom. It goes kind of under the rug, but it just sticks out a bit there. And then of course we've got the wire on the floor that leads from the cabinet to the fire pit. Again, it's all the same wire pretty much connecting, and then it comes out through here. But this doesn't bother me. I can understand that, that's fine. But just in there, yeah, that I'm not a huge fan. It's nice that it's just a single strip, but it just sticks out a little too much to it. But speaking of the lights, they do add lots of detail as always. They really light up the rooms. And then some of the lights for the fire pit and the campfire outside, maybe you've noticed, they're not always on. Like all the other lights, they're just solid LEDs, but these ones have like a very slow fade to them. So they'll come on and they'll come off. There you go, off and then back on again. So that's pretty nice. There is no settings for the lights, but they just kind of do their own thing. And then they're just scattered throughout, inside, outside, and over here as well. There is this light strip here, which I don't really know why it's there. You can kind of just see the glow through the gap there. I don't really know what light detailing that's supposed to be adding for. Then we've got a lantern as well, and just some other lights in front of the A-frame. Well, something just happened. As I was turning the house around just to show you what it looks like with the lights on, I was about to turn the lights off so you could see what it looks like. But then I knocked the battery box off the desk, it fell to the floor, and it yanked out of the socket, and it broke. I've never had this happen before, but yeah, it's I don't even know where the end's gone, so I can't even just plug it back in because the little connector bit is disappeared somewhere on the floor. But yeah, this is entirely my fault. I've never had this happen with any sets from Funwhole, but I guess I could use the service card they provide to get in touch and say, hey, it broke. But there you go, guys. There you know that They don't tell me to say everything. They don't tell me to hide the bad things in these reviews. But I wouldn't let this put you off, because I've never had this happen before, and it was my fault. It did yank sharply off. You know, it's a small white. It's gonna, something like that probably would do some damage. But well, I guess we can take a look at the A-frame now. It doesn't have any lights on, so it's still a really nice looking build without it. You know, I forgot to mention the little swing there, the pile of logs, this kind of overgrown cobbled garden out front, a little fishing thing. Oh, and this dog, this very weird mould for a dog. It's kind of very curved and smooth and doesn't have any printing for any eyes or anything, so it does look a little bit weird. Classic frog sticking out there. But yeah, as you can see, the lights aren't essential, although it is a shame what happened there, but the model is fine. Say if you got this and you didn't want to include the light kit, that's still fine, because I still think you're getting a great deal for price. There were some strange design choices I noticed with this set. For example, this here, I don't know what that block is supposed to represent. Is it supposed to be like a chair or some sort? But then, I don't know, maybe that's probably what it is. Supposed to be like you sit on there whilst you're fishing. So that was interesting. And then the front doors, you got two doors here, which, you know, they open up. There we go. So you can do that. I'll just I've knocked my gramophone over. I'll fix that in a moment. Ta-da, you can open that one and that one. But that's not all, because they're also sliding doors. So you can slide that door open, or you can go through it normally. I don't know, that was a little strange to me. And then moving up here, although this build is not connected to that downstairs, you can access the top through this kind of little window thing, which can be closed. You can close that up. It's a snug fit, but it will, there you go, that's all closed. So you can close that from the outside. And the last thing to mention is this tree. Now it looks nice for sure, but the build technique was pretty much identical to the one that came with the wood cabin. And yeah, if you saw my review on that, you'll know that I'm not a fan of it, because it's just so flimsy, it's so skinny. There's no, I don't know, it's just a bunch of thin 1x1 bricks and plates and things all stacked up together, which is fine, because it, you know, it looks okay, but just the, you know, the structural integrity of it is not there. It's very flimsy, it can just knock over. So yeah, like look at that, it snaps. I don't even have to put much pressure on it. So I feel like it needs some sort of bar or flex tube or something to go through it, just so it gets some more support in there. But otherwise it's okay. And here it is beside the wood cabin. So you can see the trees look kind of similar. I don't know if the buildings are in scale with each other. I think maybe the wood cabin might be just a bit larger in scale. I don't know, because now that I put it next to it, the A-frame looks pretty small, I would say. But they're both very enjoyable builds. Lots of nice details inside. The lights, you know, the sets are great without them, but they add some nice details. The wood cabin was built on a base plate but had no minifigures. This one was built on plates and did have minifigures, just a weird quick comparison that I thought I'd make there. And of course they both come with the usual stickers, brick separator, premium instruction booklet, you know, the tweezers to apply the stickers and maneuver the lights and wires and things. I have to say I'm pretty happy with this one. It's much nicer in person than I thought, and it went together really quickly. I did spread this build out over a few days, but altogether it probably took me about a day to build. I'm not the fastest builder, you know, I whack on a podcast and I take my time with it, but it just went together really quickly in nice manageable sections, which is a really nice thing to see. And there's just a close look at the minifigures. Probably something a bit different to what you might be used to from other brands, but if you've seen Funwhole sets, then you know that these guys are what you get. You do literally put them all together limb by limb, hand by hand, in the very last bag of the set. But you know, they're nice, they're fine. They're in scale with other brands' minifigures, I would say, and it's just a nice little family going camping, probably, as the sign says, jungle camping here. So I guess this A-frame cabin's in some sort of jungle. So here are all the spare parts from this set, including a few that you might expect with 1x1 plates and things, and then some of them which you might not expect with this 1x2 yellow plate and some of these larger black tiles. All the larger black tiles were from the same bag, so once I finished that bag and that part of the instructions, I went back to double check that I wasn't missing anything, but they were all from the roof section, and there was definitely no way that I missed them out, so they were just spare. But I've seen things like this happen before with Funwhole sets, especially with the wood cabin, where I also had a few spare tiles after finishing the set. So this set has a retail price of $100 in the US. It's got over 2,000 pieces, it's age 16 plus, it includes 4 minifigures, the light kit, and the size of it. It's a pretty big build. It goes together really nicely, and you know, from a distance you wouldn't even know it's not Lego if you're into that. I definitely think this is worth the £100 price tag, because where else are you going to get this amount of stuff, including the premium instruction booklet and even the box? I know some people just throw them out, but there is a lot of quality and care gone into this stuff. The way the light kit's all packaged and everything. In fact, the light kit's included for the retail price as well. So really, can you complain about the value? I'm not so sure. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to buy it, use our code DailyWeeklyBuilds to get 10% off your order at funwhole.com.